Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the charts for XRP, see what's been going on most recently and what I would expect to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, links in the description are down below. Fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there, so why not go ahead and check it out today. If you're looking for a little bit more from the crypto space, everything from bear market strategies through to project reviews and even a little bit of trading, why not check out the Patreon services as well in the description below. Okay guys, let's get into this. Right, XRP paired up with USDT on the hourly chart. Binance is the data source, and we're going to go through the kind of the here now, and then we're going to go into the larger time frame stuff as well. Okay, and I also want to potentially take a look at a few different things that we don't usually take a look at on this channel, but I'll go into as much as I can within the next 10 minutes. So essentially we have this move down. So we also had the Fed kind of announcement, pushed up, fake pump, and then brought all the way crashing back down again. This is pretty standard stuff. You see this often in the space. FOMO from retail investors gets a little bit ahead of themselves, and yeah, basically you see the rug get pulled. Nonetheless, we can of course acknowledge what is going on here. So straight away, we obviously see the initial pullback here. This is a 5-wave move, I do believe, but we can actually just think of this as a simple A wave, and we won't overcomplicate things. This little triangular pattern that's just starting to form down here, I don't think it's an Elliott wave triangle. I don't think it really follows the rules on this particular time frame for it, but you can see that we've got this ascending line here just acting as a bit of support, and then of course we have the same thing just coming down on the top end here. I just have to really tweak this in a little bit. Let me just pull that into those wicks, and yes, I use the wicks rather than the closed positions because I think the price has moved there for a reason, so I'll count every single wick as price movements. I do not just use closed and open positions, but they can work. People do different ways. I just like and much prefer the I guess the absolute understanding that the price went to that particular price point and wicked up there or wicked down there, and therefore I should consider that in my analysis. So anyway, we have this triangular wedge pattern here. You can see that we're getting really tight inside this little triangular pattern right at the very end here. We're about to we're about to exit this triangle, right? And it is going to be down. So down is where I anticipate this going, and it's simply because these kind of patterns, they generally appear in wave Bs or in wave 4s, right? And if this is all an entire A wave, this makes this a B wave, which means we've got to come back down into a lower point, right? And we actually have marked this up just with this dashed line down the bottom here, and I'll go ahead and just show you that price label. Okay, that comes in at, just hide that up, 5.444. Okay, so basically 54.44 cent. Okay, so we are still looking to pull it back down. Again, this actually comes from the bounce upwards, which will again as an ABC. Just falling a little bit short of the actual higher target that I had scoped out up there. But nonetheless, we're looking to pull back down into this lower range again. This is now making the whole thing look like a lot bigger corrective move. One of the scenarios that I was talking about not too long ago with our E wave, being potentially coming down to our trend line. We actually bounced from this trend line, this one that comes all the way across here. But essentially, I think this is E wave's going to be the unpredictable kind, where it just continues to extend a little bit lower until the market wants to reverse. We are looking for impulsive structure out of here. We aren't there yet though, essentially. So we're still inside that daily E wave. Now, when I come back into this, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Now I'm recording this at 1 p.m. UK time. This video will go out at 3 p.m. So we'll see if this is a valid theory, whether or not we push up a little bit higher before pulling back down. Now the stochastic RSI is heading up into the overbought area. We can see that here. So, we could pull back at any moment, but there's also a possibility that we just go up a little bit higher. I would not expect this to push up significantly, but it is possible, so we should acknowledge that. But I am thinking that we are likely to pull back down to 54.4, and then I think there's going to be a bigger reversal coming, okay? And again, this is going to be pretty much in line with Bitcoin as well. But if we take a look at the 4-hourly, you can see that the stochastic's actually still oversold, just kind of coming out of that oversold area. We can see the same thing with the 8-hourly just down here, so a little bit more in that 8-hourly, i.e. 54 54.4, then I think we'll be in a really strong position to start talking about a bigger push upwards. The daily does have to pull back down, but I think we're going to see the little bounce upwards first and then pull back down after that. So that'll be, taking Bitcoin down significantly lower. Again, just looking to lower the weekly stochastic here. We're not actually there yet, so we know that there's more downside still to come here. And as a result, this move is probable. So as a result of that, I'm thinking about, what not only are the possible moves in the space, but what are the most probable ones? Okay, what do we think is actually going to happen based on all the various different pieces of data that we have? So likelihood is that we are going to be heading towards 54.4, then reversing up in a significant way. That will then allow us to maybe see, some significant green in the market temporarily. It might be a good 12%, might be 15%. We don't know where that's going to go just yet, but it should be significant that you should be able to see it in the charts, right? And that will basically lift that daily stochastic RSI, the 8-hour, the 4-hour, from the oversold areas to the overbought area, and then essentially pull back down in a really big way that allows that weekly, the daily, the 4-hour, the 8-hour, the hourly charts to basically go oversold, ready for the next surge upwards. And again, I think Bitcoin at about 32k should be that catalyst, but nothing moves in straight lines, so we were expecting a few bounces here and there. Okay, so that kind of covers the here and the now, kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen over the next few days, right? Probably as we get into early next week. Nothing too much to kind of really talk about there. Now, of course, we can come up into our daily. We can talk about, the triangular pattern. I've spoken about this a lot. Basically, we've got a big A wave coming up. That same pattern I was just talking about, that triangular wedge pattern. This one's actually an Elliott wave triangle, though. This one here is actually looking like a B wave. So we have the A wave, the B wave, and then the C wave on the 1-to-1 ratio, currently looking at 9.97. But of course, if we do lower down or go lower than 51 cents, then essentially that will lower our higher aimed target as well. So we're just going to be a little bit cautious over that, but we are talking about 1,600% or so. Nothing too strange or odd about it. But one of the other things I kind of want to cover off in this video, let me just remove the stochastic there, is to kind of talk about Fibonacci retracement tools. And I've seen a few different videos from different influencers, and I think these are ones that have kind of been shared in our Discord group, for example. And I want to just kind of clear one thing up that is quite consistent, is some of the different influencers out there are using the fib tool incorrectly, and they are potentially drawing inconclusive or false kind of narratives based on unfortunately incorrect usage of the tool. So to start with, obviously we have to acknowledge that this is in logarithmic, right? Our charts on this channel, we use logarithmic charts, and this is because they're basically if you don't put it into logarithmic, it becomes really difficult to actually read, right? You can't see exactly what's going on there, and very, very difficult to actually understand what is going on from the price movements, right, if it's not in logarithmic. So we put it into logarithmic, and the charts just make a lot more sense, right? You can actually read them, they're more legible. Now, when you have your charts in logarithmic and you're using a Fibonacci retracement tool, it is absolutely vital that you also put this tool into logarithmic, okay? So you have to use your fib levels based on log scale. If you do not do this, then you're going to get incorrect information. So I'm going to turn this one off, okay, and you can see how the price is changed. This is then showing you that a 1.618 is actually at $15.81, right? And if I go ahead and turn it on, okay, and I put it back into log scale, you can see that the let me just remove that, the 1.618 is actually $62.41. Okay, so vastly different numbers. You've either got $15 or you've got your $62, right? So the correct way, if you've got your charts on logarithmic, is to make sure that your Fibonacci retracement tools are on logarithmic as well. Otherwise, you're going to get the wrong information. So some of the things that I've been seeing in the space, let me just take a weekly. This is probably a really bad one because there's not a huge amount of information here. Let me go ahead and see if I can find. Let's see if I can find this on something like Bitstamp. Here we go. This is a lot more data here, right? So again, still in logarithmic. And if we take this out, this is the weekly, right? But if I put it into our daily chart here, let me just remove some of the noise off of here for a second. So basically we have, January 2017 to the highs, basically January 2018, right? So 1 year we see that high point. Then we also see the bear market low. This is basically March 2020. So what I'm seeing in the space a lot is if we run a fib tool from the high point let's say from, if I can actually, might have to zoom in on a tad, from the high of the 2017 bull run, right? So they usually these influencers taking it from the high point and then coming down into where it was, you know, at that point beforehand, right? That entire run. Or alternatively, they're actually taking a look at it from a bear market low perspective. So that would be down here for XRP. And then what they're doing is they're saying, look, we've come up to, you know, X amount here. Now this is obviously on logarithmic. Now, if I were to take this off of our logarithmic scale, so let me come down here, turn it off, you get this kind of chart and you think, oh, wow, you know, we're right up here. We're coming up to the 618 and we're getting rejected from it, right? But that's not correct. Okay, so this is an incorrect Fibonacci retracement, and you know it's giving you these kind of numbers, and people are saying, you know, we've gone up on case of Bitcoin that we've gone to a 3.618 or whatever, but that isn't the case either. We've actually gone up to a 1.618. So I think it's important that we understand, you know, what's actually going on. If you see people's fib levels looking really low like this, and their charts are on logarithmic, as in you're actually able to read them, chances are that these fib levels are incorrect, and you need to either tell them to actually turn it onto logarithmic so they can actually get this correct, and so they can actually see the correct scale, because right now actually XRP pierced past the 786 and then broke back down below it, at least from a bull cycle high and a bear market low scenario where it's actually been going. Now, I know I didn't want to turn this video into an educational one, but I did want to kind of clear that up a little bit, because unfortunately, you know, there's a lot of noise in this space. There's a lot of influences in this space, all kind of talking about things that they think are accurate, and unfortunately some of them are not. So just pay attention to who you're listening to, and specifically in times of volatility like this, or when people are telling you that, you know, the market's reached its cycle, it reached say a 3.618 or a 4.236 extension, that those simply are not true, because if their charts are on logarithmic and they have their fibs on logarithmic, they're going to get a very different answer. If their charts are not on logarithmic and their fibs are not on logarithmic, then they're getting the correct answers. Again, it works both ways. You just have to marry up the two different charts. So I just want to kind of cover that off, specifically for XRP, but also Bitcoin's getting a lot of noise with the same issue. So just make sure you're kind of aware, you know, that you know how these things actually work, and make sure that people are utilizing the tools correctly. Otherwise, things could potentially get a little bit messy very, very fast, with incorrect conclusions being drawn. But ultimately for XRP here, this is kind of what I'm tracking, 1-to-1 ratio, $9.97 at the moment by the end of this next surge upwards. But it does depend on how low our E wave goes. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found this useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.